Jorge Lorenzo leaves pit lane. 2 Grand Prix wins already. And there we go, just looking at the surface of the track. Certainly is wet there. Lorenzo slides off. That, I would imagine, has just happened, is it? Has Lorenzo slidden or gone off the track in the sighting lap? He certainly has. Absolute drama here at Mugello. Let's look again. He's coming back into the pits. So Jorge Lorenzo, the pole setter, the World Championship leader, has fallen on the sighting lap and is having to go out on his second machine.
Now this is going to be a big blow. We don't know how well even the first bike was set up for wet weather. What about the second bike?
And if they had to come in and change bikes, there's going to be a lot of work to be done on that bike. It didn't look like too much damage. I really couldn't believe that when I just saw it. Lorenzo has crashed out on the sighting lap. He's had to go out on the second Fiat Yamaha. We ride with him. There we go. The crowd, some of the crowd cheer. They obviously want an Italian and Valentino Rossi to win this race. It's perfectly okay, but this really will unsettle the championship leader, Jorge Lorenzo. Look at his leathers, covered in mud, covered in dirt.
It could be that perhaps he tried to go out on those slick tyres and there wasn't enough heat in them. He decided to take the gamble and it really didn't pay off, even on the sighting lap.
Well, not the way to start a race from pole position for Jorge Lorenzo. But he's in pole position and he leads the World Championship. We wait and see. Absolute, unbelievable. Jorge Lorenzo crashes out on the sighting lap, chasing his 3rd Grand Prix victory of the season. He starts the race in pole position. This is him arriving now. It certainly is. Got to make his way through.
Just arriving now, Valentino Rossi.
That's Rossi, sorry, makes his way through. No, Lorenzo isn't there yet, is he?
Well, he'll have to do a complete lap and not an especially quick one, I'd imagine, after that last sighting lap.
No, dead right. You just see the mud on the back of his leathers. So Valentino Rossi has arrived. To remind you of that front row of the grid for this 23-lap race, it's Lorenzo, Stoner and Capirossi. Right behind Lorenzo will be Valentino Rossi, then Randy Depunier and Colin Edwards. Rossi's here, but his teammate has not yet arrived. He will arrive on his 2nd machine after crashing out on the sighting lap. Still nowhere in sight for Jorge Lorenzo. Smiles on the grid from Casey Stoner. His wife Adriana holds the brolly for him.
Sorry, Nick, I'm just down here with Niccolo Canepa. Niccolo, your best qualifying performance of the year, and at least here in Mugello, you know when it rains what to do.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the first time for me in rain condition in Mugello, so I don't know. I think that we will change the bike in the middle of the race because the line is going to be dry.
And will there be team instructions for you to come in, or will you have to take the gamble yourself?
The team will communicate to me if the other guys, if the other riders come in to change the bike, and I decide at the moment when to change the bike.
And at least you've had some practice of this in Le Mans 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, unbelievable, unbelievable.
Okay, thanks, Niccolo.
Jorge Lorenzo takes over his pole position at the front of the grid. Mud splattered leathers. Even seems to got some mud on his visor at the moment. I'm sure the team will work hard just to calm him down, just to settle things. He's out on his 2nd bike. Tyre warmers go on immediately. You can see their wet weather tyres. But it does appear, as Nicola Canepa said, that the riders will have to come in. They will start in the wet conditions. As it starts to dry, it's going to be Le Mans all over again. Lorenzo explaining exactly what went wrong. 21 years old. He's got a pretty sensible head on his shoulders, but that really must have unsettled him and unsettled his confidence. Meanwhile, Valentino Rossi, he made a mistake in Le Mans. I think he came in probably a couple of laps too early to change his tyres to the dry weather slicks. So It's going to be very, very important when he comes in. Only he can make that decision. The team discussing it with him.
Well, he hasn't had the best of success in the flag-to-flag races. He admits that himself. Perhaps he would prefer a wet race at Mugello. He's already won in the wet at Mugello.
Quite right. It's a very, very difficult decision to make, and his fans are here in their tens of thousands, as you would imagine. Casey Stoner looks very calm and very relaxed. It's a big, big race for Casey Stoner. Only 1 point down in the championship on Jorge Lorenzo. Lorenzo obviously unsettled now. Stoner had a tumble on Saturday morning, just lost the front end up at Poggio Secco. Doesn't really know what caused it, he said, but no great problems. But not entirely happy with the bike yesterday afternoon, although he qualified in second place after feeling very comfortable on the bike on Saturday morning before the tumble. Completing the front row of the grid. Great to see him here. Loris Capirossi, he was on the front row. He qualified third here last year. So I say, of the existing riders on the MotoGP grid, he's the last man to beat Valentino Rossi here at Mugello. That was in 2009 years ago, riding the 4-cylinder 2-stroke 500cc Honda. Good to see Loris Capirossi though on that front row. Was the former 125 and 250cc world champion. A legion of fans here. Randy Depunier's done well qualifying again. He's qualified 5th fastest on that LCR Honda. Top Honda rider, though he's in the satellite team. He's 10th in the World Championship at the moment, Randy, but of course he had that brilliant 4th place at Jerez. Disappointment for him at Le Mans at his home Grand Prix, where it was a flag-to-flag race. Flag-to-flag means that the race won't be stopped, so if the riders want to change tyres, they have to come in, and unlike Formula 1 cars where they can change the tyres quickly, they can't on motorcycles. They change bikes with the different tyres on. They're going to go out on wet weather tyres. It does appear the way the weather is, they're going to have to come in and change to dry weather slicks at some point. When they come in, it's all important. Colin Edwards, to say 7th in the World Championship. 5th is his best result back here last year at Mugello. Having a good season though on that monster Tech 3 Yamaha. Down to the third row of the grid, Andrea Dovizioso. 5th in the World Championship, first year of course with the Repsol Honda team. Only one podium here, 3rd in 2006 on the 250. Finished 8th last year. And there is the man himself, 15 times world champion, Giacomo Agostini, just wishing Andrea Dovizioso luck. Danny Pedrosa, major problems with his hip. Either caused by an old injury, either caused in training, or perhaps a moment out on the bike, but he's having real trouble at the moment. He's had 3 successive podium finishes in the last 3 races. He's riding quite brilliant. He's 4th in the World Championship, just 9 points behind Lorenzo. He's a former winner here in the 250cc class, but he's very unhappy and very despondent at the moment.
The problem that he had was actually in practice yesterday. He said he had a jolt on the bike, and after that a really sharp pain that more or less numbed his whole leg. They said it's a tendon and perhaps another problem. Nothing been confirmed of any dislocation or anything like that, but he's really uncomfortable. You can see that from his face.
Yeah, very difficult indeed for Danny Pedrosa, and he was very unhappy yesterday. Tony Elias has qualified on the front row, wish he had. 3rd row of the grid.
But he wishes he had as well.
Crashed in qualifying, no podiums here. Best finished 6th in 2007. He's 11th in the World Championship, and he really wants to pick up some points now, pick his season up a little bit. Look at Takahashi, says what we all feel, I think. What is happening up there with the weather?
Nobody knows. Nobody can know, can they? His best qualifying so far in MotoGP. 10th on the grid for the Japanese rider.
Had a great ride here in 2006, didn't he? Tremendous battle with Jorge Lorenzo in the 250cc race, and just lost that. Now here's a man who probably won't be too unhappy about the weather conditions. Chris Vermeulen, 3rd in the warm-up this morning when it was wet. Best result here is a 6th place. He's 8th in the World Championship, but he's a master of these conditions, Chris Vermeulen.
I think he might prefer the wet to the dry to wet conditions than this way around, but in any case he'll be happy to have a chance to get back up to the front.
Yeah, it gives all of them a chance. Declared a wet race there by Paul Butler, the race director. We saw Alex De Angelis briefly, of course, had a brilliant ride to 4th, his best results in MotoGP last season.
Yeah, 3 successive podium finishes in the 250cc class as well. There he is.
Canepa.
We've just been talking to him.
Yeah.
cheerful as ever. He's never ridden at Mugello in the wet, despite testing MotoGP, World Superbike and road bikes here. So it's a new experience for him, he said.
Something you might see behind him, there's a yellow smoke descending on the track already. That's been released by some Rossi fans at the side of the home straight.
Gavin was talking about this yesterday. He'd got an inkling that this was going to happen. James Toseland having a tough time at the moment, the former World Superbike champion. He's qualified 14th, but he did finish 6th in the race here last year, and on his very first visit to Mugello, rode quite brilliantly.
Now, Marco Melandri, what can we say about him in these kinds of conditions? Brilliant ride last time out in Le Mans. And could he do it again?
Well, he's starting way back from the 5th row of the grid. 250cc winner back here 7 years ago. But as we saw at Le Mans, anything can happen where he rode quite brilliantly. And here's Nicky Hayden, he's qualified 16th. Nicky Hayden was 3rd here in 2006. He's having a tough time with the Ducati, Nicky Hayden.
Mika Kallio, back of the grid, 17th. Ducati riders haven't found it easy here this weekend. Casey Stoner had a little crash.
He did on Saturday morning. Kallio's crashed out in the last 2 races, hasn't he? After 2 8th places in the opening 2. Looked very good in MotoGP, but now he's got to start scoring some points. Let's just have a look how the track is. It's already really drying out in places, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
We saw Nicky Hayden this morning in warm-up. The camera cut to him and he held his hands together, praying that the conditions stayed like that, because it was quite rainy then. Looks like nothing's really coming off for Nicky Hayden this weekend.
There is Jorge Lorenzo after his incident. Is that the best way to describe it?
Certainly is. Amazing. I stopped before I said anything because I thought it might be a replay of another crash on the sighting lap. Then I saw it was wet. I saw the mud and everything, and obviously it was a crash on the sighting lap. Yes. Now everybody's going to start on wet weather tyres. We're absolutely certain of that. What happens after that is anybody's guess, to be honest, because I'd say, Duncan, it's beginning to, certainly from the pictures we see, beginning to dry very quickly.
It's drying out a little bit. Another thing that will come into play, there's so many different lines at Mugello. Somebody might clear a decent line for you in one place and it might be wet in another.
Yeah, what will happen is those riders will be looking for a bit of wet and a few puddles to cool the tyres down if they're still on the wet weather tyres before they come in. It's making that decision. Gavin, as we said, I think Valentino Rossi came in too early at Le Mans 2 weeks ago. Jorge Lorenzo, we thought, came in too late. It seemed to be the perfect choice he made.
We'll just have to wait and see, won't we? It was too late for the other riders, but for Lorenzo it was just fine because he had such a lead built up in the wet conditions. It depends who has the right feeling. They're all on the soft, wet tyres. On the outside of the front row is Loris Capirossi. Middle of the front row, Casey Stoner. Starting from pole is Jorge Lorenzo, who, look, dirty leathers. He's already been down in the gravel. He won't want to go there again.
Yeah, and Jorge Lorenzo is also out on his second bike. So they're going to be working flat out in the garage because he's going to have to come back as he go out on his first bike when they switch the tyres.
And when they switch it to a dry setting as well. 23 laps of the Mugello circuit, 5.245 kilometres, 3.259 miles this lap. Jorge Lorenzo's got it all against him. Can he regain his focus? You know, in France when he started the race there? Pretty sure, didn't he start from the wrong grid spot? Or he was about.
He came to the wrong grid spot, didn't he? Yes, he did.
Lorenzo, Stoner, Capirossi. That's the front row. Rossi, Depunier, Edwards on row 2. And watch out for Rossi's charge from there, Edwards as well. Dovizioso, chance for him in his home race maybe in these conditions. Pedrosa alongside him, Elias also there. And it's Yuki Takahashi on row 4, alongside him Suzuki, Chris Vermeulen, Alex De Angelis, who goes well here at Mugello. And it's Nicolo Canepa, James Toseland and Marco Melandri had such a fabulous ride into second last time out in France. And on the back row, Nicky Hayden and Mika Kallio on board the Ducatis. They found it hard in the dry. What will they do in the wet conditions today?
And
wet to dry conditions.
That's right. And what is going through Jorge Lorenzo's mind? He's out on his second bike. He's crashed on the sighting lap. He's out there in pole position. He leads the World Championship by 1 point.
Now we'll be thinking, oh, right, I mustn't crash on this one.
No, and this will really give the riders an indication of how the conditions are. And we're going to have a really good look. See, well, there is no doubt the track is dry, but there's still plenty of wet bits there. But it's very wet coming into the first turn, isn't it, into San Donato. So it's certainly there, but as you can see from the helicopter shots, it is beginning to dry out in certain places.
Patches there, aren't there?
It's a nightmare for riders, this is.
The sun's out
nightmare.
fully, that's one thing, but it didn't matter in Le Mans, did it? It dried really quickly. And it did dry quickly here, didn't it, for the 125cc race?
Look at the support there for Valentino Rossi. Poggio Secco, that's his home territory up there on the left. They said they were going to release some yellow clouds, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they released some black clouds, I think, and the rain poured down on it.
Maybe they were releasing it when Jorge Lorenzo went there.
Yeah.
81,000 fans inside this circuit. It's a good attendance. Always popular, isn't it, the Mugello Grand Prix? And it's because it's such a fabulous venue.
It is, and it's a great party place for people as well. They come for the weekend. It's complete madness from start to end. You wouldn't come here with your grandma for a holiday, I don't think, but it is a great place, and the atmosphere, the patriotism from the Italians, there's everything about it is just fabulous. We ride with Marco Melandri. He probably, as Duncan said, wanted to stay wet, probably, but it's not going to stay that. He'll have to make a decision. I think he came in pretty early also at Le Mans, didn't he? And said that he had a few more. Danny Pedrosa certainly came in very early.
Yeah, he came in. Pedrosa came in with Rossi. I think Melandri came in 1 or 2 laps later. I think that was pretty much the perfect time to come in.
I do. But though he said it was still. You're not going to get it exactly right, whatever the tyres you're on, are you? It's going to be, even now, there's going to be some dry patches. And when it starts to dry out, there's still going to be some wet patches. It's a very difficult decision to make.
Casey Stoner riding for Ducati in their home Grand Prix, of course. Not too far from Borgo Panigale in Bologna, which is where they're based, of course. And he was fastest in the warm-up, remember. He was quickest this morning. Said he had a few things to sort out in the warm-up. He's got that aluminium swing arm on. They've changed back to a few problems with the carbon fibre one. Says there's some good things with both. He just can't find the balance.
I think he's used both this weekend, hasn't he? And that's what he's decided to do. Here's Jorge Lorenzo. As we say, drama. He crashed out. He's out on his second bike. He's really got to get his head around this, but he's a pretty level-headed guy. But
level-headed?
Yeah.
Well, he's cool. He's a cool customer, I'll give you that.
Yeah, no, I think he thinks things out carefully, but this must have unsettled him. So, the riders return to the grid. It's round 5 of the MotoGP World Championship. 81,000 fans here, pack the hillsides around this magnificent Mugello circuit. This is going to be a flag-to-flag race. The riders are going to have to come in and change bikes and change tyres. 23 laps of Mugello. Welcome to the Italian Grand Prix.
And away they go. They were held for quite a long time on the start. Lorenzo gets another shocking start. Look at him, he's really just dropped like a stone down the order. And it's Randy Depunier who comes in, and then Danny Pedrosa firing it into the first corner first. It's Pedrosa from Depunier, Rossi in second place. Stoner's down about 7th, Lorenzo in about 16th.
It's one of the Suzuki's going round the outside. It's probably Loris Capirossi up into second place. No, it's Chris Vermeulen.
It's Chris Vermeulen.
Oh, what a start by Chris Vermeulen, the Australian.
Depunier in 3rd, Dovizioso in 4th, Valentino Rossi in 6th, pushed wide now by Casey Stoner.
But it's Danny Pedrosa that leads the way. How has he done that with that injured hip? He hasn't done it because Chris Vermeulen has taken the lead.
Lorenzo is down in 10th position, starting from pole position. That was a shocking start, wasn't it, from him?
Looked like a very good start by Rossi, but he got shoved out of things a little bit, didn't he, as they went into turn 1. Vermeulen leads the way. Andrea Dovizioso up into 3rd place. Coming under pressure now from Casey Stoner. Casey moves through on Dovizioso and takes over 3rd.
It's going to be mix and match for the first few laps, isn't it? You're not going to know exactly what's happening. Here comes Rossi through on Depunier, who made such a lightning start to the race. I don't know whether it was a jump start or anything. It looked like it, didn't it, from Depunier? Starting from 5th on the grid. He's and currently in 5th in the race. They go up and over Arrabbiata and down towards the Scarpa rear turn. It's Vermeulen leading. Here comes Lorenzo fighting back, trying to go up on the inside of Loris Capirossi. Loris Capirossi basically said, I'm going to go for it. Whether I finish the race or not is another matter. So if I was Lorenzo, I'd take it carefully how you pass Capirossi.
But it's his teammate, Loris Capirossi's teammate, Chris Vermeulen, that leads the way, riding the Suzuki through Corantaio. In 2nd place, Danny Pedrosa coming under real big pressure now from Casey Stoner. Andrea Dovizioso, Valentino Rossi. There is Lorenzo just tucked in behind just tucked in behind Randy de Punier.
So whatever Lorenzo's going to have to do, he's going to have to wait before he comes in and changes bikes. However, he's making progress. He's back past de Punier and up into 6th now. It's Dovizioso in 2nd place. It's Stoner in 3rd, but Chris Vermeulen leading the way.
Over the start and finish line for the first time. Stoner drafts Andrea Dovizioso as they come over the line. Stoner finds that extra speed from the Ducati and takes the lead. Casey Stoner leads here at Mugello. Dovizioso tries to go up the inside of Chris Vermeulen, unable to do so. Australia's 1 and 2. Dovizioso again trying to get up the inside. Again Vermeulen shuts the door in his face.
Rossi ran it very, very deep. Pedrosa tried to find a way through, but Rossi hung on to 4th. He'd taken that, taking Danny Pedrosa down the home straight. But it's Stoner who also took the lead down the home straight. He came out of the slipstream of the Suzuki and the Honda and hit the front of the race. His left leg went down then, didn't he? It was like he was feeling the ground there, like a speedway rider.
Andrea Dovizioso chasing after Chris Vermeulen. I think the worry from everybody would be that Casey Stoner gets away at the front. Rossi in particular, I think, knows that Stoner's very capable of doing this. But you've got to say, in the damp conditions, Vermeulen and Dovizioso are doing a good job. There is Valentino Rossi chasing 8 successive Premier Class wins here at Mugello. Just in behind him, Danny Pedrosa.
Loris Capirossi is up into 7th position as well. Behind him, Marco Melandri. Remember that race in Le Mans a couple of weeks ago? He's come from 15th and up into 8th, Melandri, making very good progress. There was Jorge Lorenzo, down in 6th position behind his arch nemesis, Danny Pedrosa. Just in behind him, Loris Capirossi, and there is Melandri at the back of that group.
Melandri and Capirossi, they've had some rare old battles through the years.
2005, I picked that one out. That was a special race between those two for 3rd position. They're currently racing for 7th, but as we know, when they come onto the dry tyres, it looks like they will have to, then it will be anyone's guess who can win this race.
You're so right about Lorenzo. They're working frantically on his bike at the moment, his first bike, to change the setting and change the tyres. It's Vermeulen really hanging onto the rear wheel of Casey Stoner. Dovizioso looking nice and comfortable in 3rd place at the moment. Gavin says they are going to have to come in and change tyres at some point. Where and when are they going to do it? It's still wet out there, as we see, as they race, 340 kilometres an hour up through the start and finish, and then on the brakes to 90 kilometres an hour at San Donato.
Or even less in these kinds of conditions.
Yeah.
There's Stoner leading from Vermeulen and Dovizioso. No moves on that lap.
It may not be Jorge Lorenzo's decision when he comes in, because his bike, they've taken the fairing off. They're really, really looking at the bars, looking at the electronics. I don't really know what's happened when he's fallen down, but it could be that his pit board have to put out the bike OK sign for when he wants to come in.
Yeah, he's going to have to hope that everything's okay on that bike. They're not going to be able to test it until he gets out on it.
Drama indeed for Jorge Lorenzo. He'll just be happy to pick up the points now, I think. I don't think he's going to win this race. And while others might start thinking of coming in to change the tyres to the slicks, he may not be able to, because the bike will not be ready after his crash.
Down through Casanova Savelli, Loris Capirossi described this as the most amazing place to ride a MotoGP machine. Around there, not only the plunging undulations of the circuit, not only the challenges of the track and the rivals, but also the fans here. On board with Pedrosa, watch Lorenzo right at the picture, just watch him spinning up off the line. Stoner as well spinning up. It just depends where those starting grids are. There'll be some dry patches, and that's why some people will got away better.
Vermeulen still coming under pressure, but holding off Dovizioso. Rossi trying to close the gap on these leading 3. Long, long way to go. Big, big decisions to make.
He looks comfortable, doesn't he, Dovizioso?
He does.
Just tucked in behind there. Just watching things happen, as well as Vermeulen. Stoner's not getting away, and in turn they're not getting away from Rossi. We could have a real race on our hands here.
Tactics are going to play a massive part. Here we are, let's look. Oh, that is a dreadful start by
He's just
Jorge
spinning up
Lorenzo.
though,
Yeah.
isn't it? Just couldn't get any traction. Dovizioso almost had to run it onto the grass. Watch on board with Lorenzo. Look at Dovizioso here. He's forced, just misses the grass.
Great start by Randy de Punier. Actually led the way, didn't he? Stoner still holds the advantage. Dovizioso now thinks about out-dragging Chris Vermeulen. Side by side they come. Can Dovizioso hold it firm as they go into San Donato? He can. Dovizioso moves into 2nd place. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. Vermeulen in the end has to let him through. And then runs it wide. Gets in a bit of a tangle with Stoner in front of him. And Stoner takes full advantage.
Fastest lap of the race from Lorenzo there at 2:01.0, but these guys at the front are in 2:01.4, so it's not that much of a difference. just means it's all tight at the top as Dovizioso runs it wide, trying to come round on the inside of Casey Stoner. And Dovizioso thinks, right, I can go faster. Hits the front, but will he hang on? No, I think Stoner's going to close back in front of him. He does at Matarassi. And back in front is Casey Stoner, but Dovizioso showed he's looking very competitive here today.
Good to see him, isn't it, battling for the lead in a MotoGP race.
That could perhaps be the first time he's ever taken the lead in a MotoGP race.
Could well have done, though. He was battling for the lead in Qatar on his debut, running that Scott Honda, I remember. But took the lead momentarily. Let's see if he can fight back and take it once again from Casey Stoner. Stoner looking nice and relaxed out at the front.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be easy then when Dovizioso came past to not fight back straight away and just see how things go, but he didn't, did he? Put the bike straight back in front of Dovizioso.
Dovizioso wants to lead this race.
He wants to push the pace up.
He wants to push the pace up, wants the lead. Konatai away to the left is where all the Ducati fans are. I think all the hooters and horns you can hear are urging on Casey Stoner at the front.
Further down the order then, here's Lorenzo fighting Melandri, 5th and 6th. So Melandri having another brilliant race. And then in 7th is Pedrosa, 8th Capirossi, 9th Depunier, Elias is in 10th, then it's Edwards, Hayden is in 12th, De Angelis 13th, Callio 14th, Toseland in 15th, Takahashi 16th, Canepa 17th. Do we have a new leader?
Certainly do. Andrea Dovizioso has done it. Andrea Dovizioso leads his home Grand Prix riding the Repsol Honda.
For how long though?
There, look at the speed of the Ducati compared with the Honda. Over the line they come, side by side, they plunge down the hill, down through the gearbox, on the brakes any moment now. Dovizioso is going to come up the inside, is he, of Casey Stoner? He has. Dovizioso is riding very well indeed on the Repsol Honda. Casey Stoner still is in 2nd place.
They go up towards Luco, Poggio Secco. It's still very, very tight between the front 8 back to Loris Capirossi.
First rider in, James Toseland.
Well, he probably thinks he's going to have to take the risk. He becomes the first rider to come in and change tyres. He's down in 15th, 16th position, Toseland. Why not take the gamble?
Toseland in, that is a gamble because the track still looks pretty wet to me, but a gamble worth taking. All the time, Valentino Rossi is closing on these front 3. What's the news on Lorenzo's bike, Duncan? How's it looking?
The fairing is still off on the front. They're still working on it. They've got the tyre warmers on, but that bike is nowhere near ready for him to be coming in anytime soon.
Marco Melandri is through on Jorge Lorenzo and up into 5th position. More impressive stuff from the Italian. 2nd in Le Mans, already had 5th before that, and he's riding that Kawasaki superbly, isn't it? I have to say, Kawasaki have to be watching these races and thinking,
perhaps we ought to, yeah.
Should we maybe have been there? Let's hope they are thinking that.
Dead right.
Because we'd love them to be here at the full factory effort. Dovizioso leading on the Honda. 2nd on the Ducati is Stoner. 3rd on the Suzuki is Chris Vermeulen. And 4th on the Yamaha is Valentino Rossi. 5th on the Kawasaki Melandri. 5 manufacturers in the top 5 positions.
Yeah, but MotoGP was dead and finished. It's over. Fabulous stuff. Dovizioso is really trying to get away.
There's quite a dry line coming into that corner there at Bacini. It looks quite dry through the middle of the corner as well. On board with Valentino Rossi now.
Yeah, Rossi has got Chris Vermeulen firmly in his sights on the Fiat Yamaha. Will he try and get a drag from him? He's not quite close enough. He may try and take him as they plunge downhill towards Sant'Anato. He does. Uses a bit of pit lane. Valentino Rossi up into 3rd place. Chris Vermeulen tries to fight back, but Rossi hangs on to 3rd. Chasing that 8th successive victory here at Mugello, but there's some big decisions to be made about tyres. James Toseland, the only man in so far to change from wet to slicks.
Yeah, Toseland's losing a lot of time as things stand. 4 seconds down in the first split, 3 seconds down in the 3rd split. He's going to struggle.
Rossi now chases after Casey Stoner. What goes through their minds? When do they make the decision if they come in and out? Do the pit people help them? As I say, unlike Ferrari, there's no contact between the pit and the riders. It's the riders that really have to make this decision.
As Nicola Canepa was telling us earlier, the Ducati riders will receive something on their pit board saying box if someone puts in a really fast lap having come in. Apart from that, it's all up to them.
Dovizioso really wants to win this race. He really does. Never won at Mugello. Former 125cc world champion. Some sterling battles in the 250cc class. But the man they got to beat is Valentino Rossi. He's still in third place.
You know that all the teams are going to be looking at the lap times and they're going to be waiting for each other to come in. I'm going to wait till someone else puts in a decent lap on those slick tyres. Tell you what, Tozel matched Canepa on that first sector of the track.
So it's starting to work. It's how quick it works, isn't it?
Stoner's coming under pressure from Rossi. Stoner is going to be taken for second position by Valentino Rossi. He'll be thinking already, right, is it going to be a time to come in and change?
Rossi, I think, made the wrong decision at Le Mans 2 weeks ago when he came in a little bit too early, then crashed out on the wet track.
Yeah, he won't be rushing this time, will
he?
No,
I don't think he will. All the way round, these riders will be thinking, though, as Marco Melandri has gone past Chris Vermeulen.
I think because he crossed so close, it looks like he's crossed twice. Fourth and fifth, Marco Melandri.
But he's passed him.
And he's in fourth position.
And he's closing up on Casey Stoner.
2 minutes, 0.8 for Marco Melandri. Dovizioso a 2:01.6. Rossi a 2:01.4.
What about James Tozer?
No, he dropped off a couple of seconds in the second split.
So probably not
Canepa
right
looks like he's coming in.
Right. Here he is. Nicola Canepa comes in. First time he'd ever had to do it, just 2 weeks ago at Le Mans when he changed bikes, changed tyres.
Bike started, ready to go. Out goes Nicolo Canepa. Must adhere to the pit lane limit, of course, 60 kilometres an hour.
As Valentino Rossi found out in Le Mans.
To his detriment. Lorenzo's still at the back of that group in sixth, so he's still not out of this one at all. Marco Melandri's looking in fine form. Right on the rear now of Casey Stoner.
I suspect he'll want these conditions to remain as long as possible. He's trying to get it inside of Casey Stoner. He's gone up the inside of Casey Stoner. Marco Melandri has moved into third place.
Down into Pelagio.
Oh, and he loved that, getting past Stoner on the Ducati after the unhappy time he had at Ducati.
The thing is, everyone's going to be thinking now, Lorenzo stayed out a long time in Le Mans, and will probably leave it a bit longer than they might have thought. There, Chris Vermeulen just followed Casey Stoner in a little bit on the brakes, didn't he? And ran it a little bit deep.
Any news on Lorenzo's bike, Duncan?
Lorenzo's bike, I'd say, is more or less getting ready. They're just literally this second taking the tyre warmers off. His bike will probably be just moved out in front of the garage, and they'll be ready for him to come in anytime soon.
Right, Melandri up into third, Stoner in fourth, under pressure from Chris Vermeulen and Jorge Lorenzo. Is anyone going to come in yet? Not just yet.
I reckon if anybody's going to come in soon, it could be Casey Stoner. It just seems to be dropping off the pace a little bit.
Just a little bit, and he will take that as a sign. Tozen just did a 2:06 on dry tyres.
Valentino Rossi leads the way.
Well, he's just found something down the home straight, hasn't he? The Yamaha has been flying this weekend, but through he goes, takes the lead. There's been a crash. It looks like Randy Depunier.
He's coming in. Randy Depunier. You see behind him Nicky Hayden as well coming in.
Yeah, it's about the time, isn't it, to start thinking about the changeover now. Tozen's just done a 2:06 on those dry tyres. At the front, Dovizioso on a 2:01, Rossi on a 2:01.0. Dovizioso a 2:01.8. There's Hayden coming over to change. Hayden was in at 14th position.
Decision time at the front for Valentino Rossi and Andrea Dovizioso. Italian 1, Italian 2, Italian 3. What an incredible lineup. But Marco Melandri in third place, riding quite brilliantly.
That is incredible, isn't it? Well, we've had some Italian battles here before. As I was saying before the race, the 2005 battle between Rossi and Biaggi, Capirossi and Melandri as well, was an absolute classic. That was won by Rossi, Biaggi in second. Melandri was beaten into fourth by Lawrence Capirossi. But we've got it again. The riders under the tricolour doing well. Lorenzo is up into fourth position now. Through on Stoner and Vermeulen. Vermeulen's through on Stoner as well. Stoner will come in very soon.
Yeah, I think he will. I think you're right.
Tozen's just done a 2:03.6. So it's starting to work, that tactic. And Tozen is past Canepa.
Valentino Rossi has to make the decision soon when to pull in, change his bikes. Wet weather tyres to dry weather tyres. Melandri is right up there with them. Of the leading riders, who's going to be the first to come in?
Looks to me they're going to soon have Valentino Rossi coming in. He's leading the race from Dovizioso through Bacchini. The pit lane entrance on the right. He's not coming in this time, definitely. Look at the back of the screen. Where any of the others going to come in? Dovizioso and Melandri pass up the opportunity.
15 laps to go when they cross the line.
On Lorenzo, on Jorge Lorenzo's pit board. a P on there. That probably means come into the pits now.
I saw also on Valentino Rossi's board something about Toseland, maybe about the lap that Toseland has done.
He says Toseland is up on Dovizioso.
There you can see.
It's going to happen very soon, isn't it? It's going to happen very soon. Who's going to be the brave man and make the decision to come in? Valentino Rossi did it in Le Mans. It was the wrong decision. He crashed out. Dovizioso, Marco Melandri would be very happy to remain out there as it stands with a little bit more rain coming down. It's not going to come down. He's going to have to change. Rossi leads, Dovizioso second, Melandri in third place.
Still very cloudy though, and glum out there, and quite grim as well. Who knows? More rain comes, that can make it even more interesting. But it's Rossi leading the way, huge dry patch around there coming down Casanova Savelli, but it's wet going into Arrabbiata. I bet it's really hard. Coming up and over the rise here, just down into Scarperia corner.
Horrible.
Some new track just being laid, not here, just when they come down towards Correntino. And I bet that's really hard, really dark asphalt as well.
You don't know if that's wet or
Don't
dry.
know
That's
if
what
it's
they were
wet or
saying at
dry.
Le Mans. The dark part of the track they thought was dry.
Here,
Was
look
wet.
at this
There you
here,
go, yeah.
because it's such a shiny surface. Anyway, here goes Melandri into second position. Marco Melandri for the second race in a row is battling for the podium positions.
And right in front of the Ducati fans at Kollontai. He'll love that almost as much as taking Casey Stoner.
Right, so on the riders on those dry tyres, Tozen's just at a 2 minutes 0.8. James Tozen's just at a 2 minute 0.8 lap. It's the time to come in, definitely, because that's faster than any of these guys in the wet.
All signs show that Danny Pedrosa is going to come in very, very soon.
Pedrosa running in 8th position at the moment. Oh, here comes Dovizioso, it looks like he's coming. Dovizioso has come in. This could be an ideal choice by the Italian. Well, one of the 3 Italians at the front.
Dovizioso comes in, the first of the major players to come in and change bikes and change tyres.
There are 2 Suzukis behind him.
Right, so Vermeulen and Caparossi
2
also
Suzukis
in.
and Danny Pedrosa.
And Danny Pedrosa on the second of the Repsol Hondas. This is Dovizioso first.
Out he goes on those dry tyres. Toseland just did. He was the first man in, remember, on dry tyres. He just did a 2 minutes 0.8 lap. It could be a good choice, this, by James Toseland. He had to take a gamble, didn't he? He was
his teammate Colin Edwards in, as is Alex De Angelis.
Yeah, I think this is about the right
And Marco Melandri leads the way. Whoa!
Marco Melandri leads in the Italian Grand Prix. Friends with Valentino Rossi, of course. And I'm sure Rossi will have a little wry smile seeing Melandri in front of him.
What the hell are you doing there?
From 15th position on the grid, Marco Melandri. This was how he did it.
Brilliant stuff from Melandri.
It's still damp around there, still very, very wet around there. Tozen's just at the fastest lap of the race, a 1:58.7. Meanwhile, Hayden is riding in the 2:03s. He's on about his 3rd lap on the dry tyres now.
Right, when are Melandri, when are Rossi going to come in? There's half a lap to go before they get back to the start and finish. It's still damp there as well, isn't it? They're looking for the wet patches. They want to keep those tyres cool. Melandri getting away from Rossi. I think Rossi will come in now.
Tozen's really closing on Depunier in front of him. And he could have ridden a really good race here, although Depunier's pace is picking up slowly but surely.
Valentino Rossi's pit board, they've got box on it, they haven't shown it yet. The guy who puts the sign out is just waiting for the all clear, but I think Valentino Rossi, the next lap, will be coming in.
Oh, Alex De Angelis runs off track, so those slick tyres not necessarily working ideally for everybody.
You've got to ride carefully on them, haven't you? Here he goes. A lot of gravel. Down he goes in the end. He'll try to get back in the race. Alex De Angelis had a great ride here last year.
Melandri in, Rossi in, Lorenzo in. And has Stoner stayed out there? No, Stoner in as well. So they all come in, it's just so slow. They have to go 60. They know if not, they'll get the penalty that Valentino Rossi got last time. But it will now speed up as they run, jump off the bike. Melandri leading this race, goes out and he's going to leave pit lane in first position still. Don't want any silly mistakes. Well, I thought Stoner got out in front of Rossi, but no, it's just that Rossi had managed to change before. Good change by Tony Elias. Casey Stoner gets out in 4th position now.
Here we go.
Wow, look at Dovizioso coming down the home straight now. Andrea Dovizioso is going to fire past Stoner, and he's going to get right on the rear wheel of Jorge Lorenzo.
Kallio and Takahashi just come in. That's near enough all of the field, I think.
12 and a half laps to go. Marco Melandri leads the way on slick tyres. He's taking it very, very carefully indeed, as I am sure Valentino Rossi is after his problems at Le Mans. James Tozen was the first man in.
Well, he's up to 14th now, ahead of Edwards, Canepa and De Angelis, who went off track, and he's closing on Takahashi. He will go past Takahashi. So Tozen's not done too bad a gamble. Meanwhile, Dovizioso is in second position and chasing down Marco Melandri. It seems to me Dovizioso made exactly the right choice to come in a lap before the rest.
And Dovizioso has already had a lap on these tyres. Melandri is going to take it very carefully indeed. Dovizioso will surely take the lead. Melandri just daren't risk it.
Well, he needs to bring the tyres up to temperature first of all. Dovizioso's had a lap of doing it, and he's got a chance to win his first MotoGP race now because he leads. He's on the right tyres, the right combination. Takahashi's gone down.
Perfectly okay, he's all right, but Takahashi's gone down. Looks like he's also on the slick
Stoner
tyres.
has closed right in on Rossi. As things stand, it's Dovizioso, Melandri, Lorenzo, Stoner, Rossi. Rossi down into 5th. Elias is closing behind. There's Vermeulen there as well, just ahead of Elias now.
There is Casey Stoner, he's made the tyre choice, he's out there now. It's really let battle commence now, isn't it? Right behind him, Jorge Lorenzo, there's Valentino Rossi. Loris Capirossi in turn right behind Valentino Rossi. But Dovizioso is building up the advantage at the front. These others have got to get their heat into the tyres, and they've really got to test the track out for at least a couple of laps.
Well, Casey Stoner's not even bothered about that, is he?
No.
He's through on Marco Melandri, up into second position, Casey Stoner. Now, he can see the white stripe around the outside of his tyres. That means he's on the softer version, the softer option here this weekend, which is a medium tyre.
There's Loris Capirossi, Stoner, Melandri, Lorenzo. Loris Capirossi, here comes Lorenzo up the inside of Marco Melandri, and he's gone through.
Fastest man on the circuit at the moment is James Tozen, and he's up into 11th position and absolutely flying past the rest of them. He's closed right in on Hayden, 4 seconds quicker than the American.
Came in very early to change his tyres. It was absolutely the right decision by the look of things. Lorenzo, he's had some problems today. Crashed on the siding lap, out on his second bike. A real rush to get his first bike ready with the change of tyres. They've done that, and he's still in with a great chance as it really compresses up at the front.
Capirossi is in 4th now. Rossi, who had dropped to 6th, he's up into 5th as he goes past Marco Melandri. Obviously, he doesn't necessarily have the bike in the dry conditions to do this. Here comes Capirossi. He said it was podium or bust today, and he's come through. I think he thinks podium.
Certainly does think podium. Right behind him, Jorge Lorenzo, he's got Casey Stoner in their sights. There's the lead Dovizioso has. This is the battle for second. Stoner, Capirossi, Lorenzo.
Well, Dovizioso's lead had been opening up. It went to 3.3. In the second section there, Stoner has closed it. The first time that anyone's got a bit quicker than Dovizioso. Fastest man of the race, though, is James Tozen in 9th position now and closing in on Randy Depunier.
And made a very good decision, didn't he, James Tozen? Nothing to lose. In he came, changed the tyres on very early on. And this is just the ride that might bring his confidence back.
You can just see on the back of his leathers there, Giacomino, little James. Obviously in Italy, that's one of his nicknames.
Right, this is the proper race now, isn't it? It's all been sorted tyres. Now they're out there actually racing. One would imagine to come back in and do anything. So let battle commence with 11 laps to go. Dovizioso leads. Stoner in second place. Capirossi third. Lorenzo fourth. Valentino Rossi crossing the line.
Stoner was a second quicker than Dovizioso on that last lap. Capirossi was even quicker. He was 2 seconds quicker than Dovizioso. Still Tozen progresses. Tozen is up into 7th position.
Tozen's got past Randy.
He's bringing a superb race, I have to say. It may drop off later on, but he's taken the advantage, hasn't he, of being out there at the right time on those dry tyres.
Took the gamble, done a brilliant job, James Tozen. Great to see. Dovizioso, I've got to say, Loris Capirossi is riding like a man possessed in 3rd place, chasing hard after Casey Stoner thinks about trying to take him. They plunge downhill through Savelli and Casanova, not able to do so. Bottom of the hill, Arrabbiata 1 and 2. Dovizioso still leads. Stoner and Capirossi are on the charge, 2nd and 3rd.
Former teammates, of course,
yeah,
at Ducati. When Casey Stoner went on to win the World Championship. An incredible race, yet again, just like Le Mans. Just no telling what is going to happen.
Right with Casey Stoner.
Meanwhile, Nicky Hayden's up into 10th, Colin Edwards up into 11th, and that's Danny Pedrosa. He's crashed out. He was in 11th position. and he's had such bad problems with his hip this weekend. That doesn't look good for Pedrosa going to his home race in Barcelona in 2 weeks' time. Tore a muscle in his hip during yesterday morning's practice. It pulled the muscle away from the bone. Through Casanova Cervelli, and it's just a nasty high side, and as soon as he hits the gravel he'll start tumbling, I'm sure. Oh, and he just bashed his leg and knees back up. Let's hope that Danny Pedrosa is okay. Struggled for injury, and when he crashes he's very fragile, isn't he?
Certainly is. Alberto Pucci's mentor looks on.
Fastest man on track at the moment, sorry Nick, is Casey Stoner, and he's just taken the lead in the race.
There we go. There's the picture to confirm that fact. Stoner now leads away from Dovizioso. Capirossi is right up there with them. Whoa, this is going to be very, very close indeed.
Valentino Rossi is 4 seconds back in 5th position behind Jorge Lorenzo, but only at the same pace as Lorenzo. The guys at the front are a second quicker per lap than both Lorenzo and Rossi.
Casey Stoner obviously made the right moves tyre-wise. Here is Jorge Lorenzo after all his problems, and Valentino Rossi chasing that 8th successive win, but 4 seconds back. That's a big gap even for Valentino Rossi to close.
Toseland is right on the rear now of Marco Melandri, who's suffering in the dry. He's 3 seconds slower than Toseland. Toseland will take 6th very soon indeed. Capirossi through on Dovizioso and into 2nd position. 2 Italians battling, maybe not the 2 Italians we would have been thinking about.
Up over the
At one
rise.
point you'd have thought it was Rossi and Melandri, didn't you?
Yeah, certainly did.
Now it's Dovizioso and Capirossi. Just shows these flag-to-flag races. Some people might not like them, but they do create some excitement.
As we said, Loris Capirossi is the last man to beat Valentino Rossi at Mugello 9 years ago. Started from the front row of the grid. Stoner's got the bit between the teeth now, chasing his 2nd Grand Prix victory of the season. If he won this race, Casey Stoner, he would take the lead in the World Championship.
First ever at Mugello it would be as well, wouldn't it?
First ever victory, 2nd last year. And it does appear that Lorenzo and Rossi at the moment can do nothing about it.
But this man fancies it, doesn't he?
He does.
Loris Capirossi is closing in all the time on Casey Stoner. He wants to take that first victory for Suzuki. His first victory for Suzuki, of course, and only the 2nd for them in the 4-stroke era.
If Loris Capirossi manages to win this race, he'll be the first rider to have won a race on 4 different manufacturers in a Premier class.
Well, there we go, James Toseland. What a ride by Toseland. Up into 6th place now. He's got Valentino Rossi in front of him. He's got past, as we say, Randy de Pune and poor old Marco Melandri. Toseland led the race in the wet, but now really struggling.
Yeah, Toseland's dragged with him Randy de Pune too, hasn't he?
Yes,
good result for that team. Lorenzo and Rossi, 4th and 5th, the gap between them pretty solid. Lorenzo 2 seconds to Dovizioso, Rossi 1 second behind Lorenzo. Toseland 7 seconds behind. He'll have his work cut out if he wants to attack Valentino Rossi. But a brilliant ride from Toseland, I have to say, take my hat off to him. He's had a very difficult year so far, and he's doing very well indeed in 6th. Here he is.
He is, and he took the gamble, didn't he? And the team took the gamble, and it really has paid off. There he is, Randy de Pune gaining confidence all the time on the slick tyres. This is the battle for 6th between Toseland and Randy de Pune. Come up from very different upbringings, one from the 250cc class, another from World Superbikes.
Leg comes out from Randy de Pune as he closes in on the rear of James Toseland. I'd fancy de Pune would have the edge in terms of pace, but Toseland's a gritty racer and won't take it lying down if de Pune wants to get past. It'll be all elbows and knees, won't it?
Certainly we're down at Corontaio. It's very, very close indeed.
One man who's really slipping down the order in the dry conditions is Tristan Mullen, down into 11th position. So while Stoner's profited from the tyre change, Mullen relegated down to 11th at the moment and dropping.
Randy de Pune looks behind him. He's sizing up James Toseland. They come into Bacini 8 laps ago when they crossed the line, the long drag to the line. And look at Loris Capirossi. Is he going to take the lead on the Suzuki? Side by side over the start finish line. Loris Capirossi leads the Italian Grand Prix here at Mugello, riding a Suzuki.
Capirossi goes through at San Donato and now leads the way. I imagine they're jumping up and down in the Rizzler Suzuki team garage. Loris Capirossi leads, going through Poggio Secco, on board with Casey Stoner now, watching the rear of the Italian. Loris Capirossi, he's from Bologna, just down the road from here. This is his home race. and this is so special for him. He was the last man to beat Valentino Rossi here at Mugello, but that was 9 seasons ago now. He's still got a battle on his hands though.
Certainly has. This is the place where he decided the best place to watch Grand Prix racing on a ride, Casanova, Savelli, and he leads Casey Stoner. Stoner thinks about going up the inside as they come into Arrabbiata 1, decides not to. They race uphill that third gear right-hander, Arrabbiata 2. They cannot believe it. Kevin Swans, the last man, not the last man to win a world title for Suzuki. Sorry, Kenny Roberts Jr., but of course the man that won the title for them way back in 1993.
Name was synonymous with Suzuki back in the day, wasn't it? Loris Capirossi, not so. He's been on Hondas, Yamahas, Ducatis, everything in MotoGP, and now he's on the Suzuki and looking to take his first victory with them.
Kevin Schwantz said yesterday that his fondest memory of Mugello was back from in 1992 when he won here against a Honda, but nobody expected to be beaten. Loris Capirossi doing something quite similar today.
Certainly is. They break for Bacchini. There'll be 7 laps to go when they cross the line.
Depunier's through on Toseland up into 6th.
Toseland's done a great job. Toseland wants to hang in there.
Take 7.
Finish 7th place, that will be a fabulous result.
Edwards is through on Hayden. Edwards 9th, Hayden 10th.
Side by side again. Casey Stoner retakes the lead as they go over the start and finish line.
This one could go down to the wire, I fear.
I think it definitely could.
Oh, the fastest man on the circuit though at the moment, Valentino Rossi. In 5th place, and he's 2 seconds quicker than Stoner and Capirossi at the front. This one isn't over yet.
He's got those tyres absolutely working to his delight now. It's taken time. And there he is just at the back of the group. There's Jorge Lorenzo in front of him, then on Andrea Dovizioso. Rossi will be sucked along by the crowd. He'll be urged on, they'll push him along. They will just make sure that he gets towards the front. I think Stoner knows that. Stoner's trying to get away from Capirossi at the front now.
There you can see 1.66 seconds the gap on that last lap between them. That's how much quicker Rossi was. The gap actually on track between them is over 2.5 seconds, but still, there's a long way to go in this race, 6.5 laps.
We ride with Valentino Rossi up over the rise, down towards Scarperia.
Stoner is pulling away from Capirossi though, I have to say. Meanwhile, Rossi has to contend first with Lorenzo, and then with Dovizioso, which in turn will not be easy prospects whatsoever.
Yeah, time could be running out. There's 6.5 laps to go for Valentino Rossi. You can hear the crowd urging him. I've got to say the crowd also, as we go through Correntaya, where the Ducati fans are pushing on Casey Stoner.
Also, in that corner, they look a lot slower. I just think, because of the tarmac difference, they're not sure how dry or wet it is in there. They look very much slower through there, don't they?
There's a big puddle coming out of there as well, wasn't there, in the 250cc race? Perhaps they're aware of that as well.
Down into the home straight they go one more time. When they cross the start-finish line, there will be 6 laps left in the Italian Grand Prix. Stoner's trying to break them. It's Capirossi in 2nd, Dovizioso in 3rd, Lorenzo in 4th, and here's Rossi in 5th.
Rossi not close enough to get past Lorenzo at the moment.
New fastest lap, Casey Stoner.
Not surprised. He's getting away at the front, and Rossi's got to get past Lorenzo very soon indeed. Out. He is not going to make it 8 successive wins. We ride with Tony Elias. In front of him, I think it's Kallio, isn't it?
Yeah,
yes,
they're down 14th and 13th position respectively. There's Kallio in 13th. There's Elias, and unfortunately for him, tyre changeover came early, but it wasn't the right one. Also, it wasn't early enough, perhaps. I think the guys at the back needed to come in earlier. Meanwhile, Toseland is back in front of Randy Depunier.
What a battle that is turning out, the battle for 6th place.
Meanwhile, as well, Edwards up into 8th, past Marco Melandri. Melandri's dropping like a stone, he's down in 9th now.
And Rossi making no real impression, is he, on Jorge Lorenzo? He's not getting close enough. So Dovizioso still in 3rd place. You've got to say Capirossi isn't letting Stoner get away at the front as well. But
just slightly, it's a 10th in every sector.
Yeah, that's right, just enough. We ride with Valentino Rossi, we ride with Jorge Lorenzo. Similar bikes, similar style as it stands at the moment. This is the battle for 4th place. Rossi desperate to get past him. Finisher Mugello without Rossi on the podium.
Unheard of, unthought of.
I just can't remember it, no.
I remember the last time it was, Mugello 2001.
Alex Barros won the race.
Alex Barros won the race because Valentino Rossi, it was a wet race then as well, remember, 2-part race though back in those days.
Yep.
And And in the second part of the race, Valentino Rossi with those Hawaiian colours, remember those? The
I
white
do.
bike with the blue flowers. And he crashed out with 2 laps to go after touching a white line. Capirossi just set him for his fastest lap of the race. Fastest man on the circuit, though, is Jorge Lorenzo.
Yeah, and he's closing up on Andrea Dovizioso now. This is the battle for 3rd place, 5 laps to go. There is Lorenzo, crashed on the sighting lap. All sorts of problems for him. He's done very well indeed, and his pit crew have done well indeed to get the first bike ready. It had to go out as the second bike when they changed the tyres.
Stoner leads them from Capirossi as they come down into Materassi and Borgo San Lorenzo. This left-right S will bring them to Casanova Savelli, where all the Loris Capirossi fans will be sat. That's Dovizioso in 3rd position, just ahead of Jorge Lorenzo. Teammate Danny Pedrosa out of the race, of course.
These two had some great battles in the 250cc World Championship, didn't they? Winner and runner-up 2 years running. It was Dovizioso that was the runner-up. He leads the way at the moment. Lorenzo's really got some confidence back in those tyres, and after all the problems he's had, closes right up on Dovizioso. Rossi also there.
Well, this is a battle for 3rd now between these 3 riders. If anyone can get through, can they close in on Capirossi? 1.2 seconds between Capirossi and Dovizioso. And these 3, well, you don't need to know the gaps between them, you can see it. At the front, Stoner has 0.6 on Loris Capirossi, so that's stayed pretty steady.
Capirossi have one more go at him. We wait and see. We ride with Andrea Dovizioso. Number 99, Jorge Lorenzo on the Fiat Yamaha is nicely placed. Is he going to push him off the podium? He is. Up into 3rd place goes Jorge Lorenzo. Applause from his pit crew. Can Rossi follow similar path?
So after crashing on the warm-up lap, he'd take 3rd with both hands, wouldn't he?
He would.
So Stoner leads Capirossi by 0.7, 1.2 back to Lorenzo, and it's Dovizioso in 4th and Rossi in 5th. There's still wet areas out on this track. There's the gap between Capirossi and Lorenzo.
Yeah, 1.2 as it stands at the moment. And now Lorenzo's got past Dovizioso. He's got 3 3/4 laps perhaps, or 3.5 laps to try and catch him.
Stoner is really pushing very hard indeed. 0.8 now the gap, as Lorenzo closes to 0.9, the gap between himself and Capirossi. This is going to be some finish for the Italian Grand Prix. We still don't know who will make up the podium positions. Stoner leading the way. Looks as though he could have sealed himself a spot, but with 3.5 laps remaining, who knows what could happen.
Valentino Rossi closing on Andrea Dovizioso the whole time. Dovizioso in 4th place. Rossi wants to get past him. Lorenzo in turn has got past him, but really not making an enormous impression on Loris Capirossi, who's still running 2nd.
Down they come into Scarperia and then into Plaggia. Blind right-hander, and then they have to flick it over to the left. Don't really see too much where you're going in those couple of corners. Got to know it. It's all by knowing it off by heart. And someone like Rossi and Dovizioso have been here so many times in their career. Oh, that was Alex De Angelis.
I thought it was Lorenzo.
So did I, with that white bike.
Yeah,
I did. Sure.
It's not Lorenzo, I can assure you. Andrea Dovizioso riding a really sturdy race there, because he's coming under pressure all the time from Valentino Rossi.
They go down into Bacchini. This long left-hander, pushing the front end all the time. It's downhill, slightly off camber as well. Casey Stoner has really thrown down the gauntlet on that lap, and he's just done the fastest lap of the race. I'm not surprised. A 151.7, but Lorenzo's matched it with a 151.692.
Here comes Rossi up the inside of Sondonato. He's got through into 4th place. At last he's got past Andrea Dovizioso. The poor old Dovizioso does appear he's going to be denied a position on the podium after leading the race here on that Repsol Honda. His teammate Danny Pedrosa out of the race
now,
after a nasty looking crash.
Can Capirossi hang on to a podium position?
Yeah.
Can he do it? I really hope he can, for him, but for the entire Suzuki team as well, because they work tirelessly in that team to bring the bike up to standard. They don't have the resources maybe of the Yamahas and the Hondas. They can see the move from Valentino Rossi on board his bike, looking back at Andrea Dovizioso, and Dovizioso relegated to 5th spot.
Loris Capirossi coming under pressure now to hang on to that podium position from the 2 Fiat Yamahas out at the front. Casey Stoner chasing his second Grand Prix win of the season. He would also lead the World Championship if he wins here for the very first time at Mugello.
Fine battle going on for 6th between Tozen and Depunier. The Briton is back in front of the Frenchman now. You can see, look at how much he just upped the pace on that last lap there. Stoner from a 152.4 to a 151.7.
Casey Stoner's just got to get that Ducati home now. 2.5 laps to go for the Australian.
There's no way Loris Capirossi will give up that position without a scrap, without a kick and an elbow and a knee.
Loris Capirossi desperate to finish on the podium here at his home race. His son's here now, only 2 years old now, watching his dad race, and desperate to do it. But Lorenzo and Rossi, they're desperate for World Championship points. Rossi is not going to win the race. Here comes Lorenzo up the inside of Capirossi from absolutely nowhere. Can he hold the brakes? He can, side by side. Who goes wide?
Capirossi runs it too wide there. Just can bring it back in front of Valentino Rossi. But you could see he didn't want to lose out to Jorge Lorenzo. Capirossi's going to have to fight for the podium position now. He's going to have to work his socks off, Loris Capirossi, if he wants to take that Suzuki to the podium. He said basically yesterday, it's podium or bust for me. So I think he will just go for it. But he's not going to be able to show Lorenzo a wheel, I don't think.
1.5 laps to go. Casey Stoner leads. Jorge Lorenzo second. Loris Capirossi third. We ride with Valentino Rossi closing all the time on Loris Capirossi, and Andrea Dovizioso's not out of it either.
Here comes Rossi. Oh, he thought about it at Arrabbiata. Whoever of Stoner, Rossi, Lorenzo wins this race is leading the World Championship going into the next round. So it's still a very, very crucial 25 points, and also crucial between second and third. Here comes Rossi into Scarperia.
Rossi takes over third place. He pushes Loris Capirossi off the podium with less than 1.5 laps remaining. And what about Lorenzo's lap times? Is he closing on Stoner?
Minimally, by 1/10 so far on this lap.
Casey Stoner surely has got this sorted.
Well, he's going to have to work very, very hard on this final lap. Lorenzo, in fact, just took half a second out of Stoner through there. Stoner's had, well, he's just slowed down in that section. Lorenzo, we know, is not great in T4, though, which is his final zone of the track.
What a race this has been. Okay, we don't like it wet and dry or dry and wet. We just want it straight. But 2 races we've had now when they've had to come in and change to dry weather tyres. Fabulous racing. Stoner leads, Lorenzo second. Rossi in third place. We're on the last lap of the Italian Grand Prix here at Mugello, and Capirossi coming under pressure now from Dovizioso.
There's another battle going on between Tozen and Edwards. Edwards has ridden superbly in the second half and is just about to go past his teammate as Dovizioso goes through on Capirossi and ruins any chance he had of the podium. Dovizioso left the brakes off so late there. He records one of the fastest laps so far. Meanwhile, Tozen and Edwards are still scrapping it out over the start-finish line. I'm sure Edwards will go through on him. And that won't be a friendly rivalry either.
It certainly won't, those two at loggerheads.
Stoner's pulled it out in this first section, out to 0.8 of a second one more time.
Lorenzo second, Rossi third. Dovizioso wants one more nibble at Valentino Rossi.
He wants that podium shot.
Yeah.
And if he can get on the back of Rossi, who knows whether the Honda has the pace to beat the Yamaha to the start-finish line.
Great day's work by Casey Stoner. Very good day's work by Jorge Lorenzo after all his problems.
Yeah, it's 1.1 second at the moment, over into Scarperia and down into Pelagio.
Is Dovizioso going to get close enough? Up over the rise, front and tile, half a lap to go.
This is where they're having to go a little bit slower. They're not sure whether it's wet or dry in there. Stoner leads Lorenzo through. I think that's your 1-2, but who's going to be third? Look how close Dovizioso is as they come down towards the Biondettiesses. It's Ducati first with Stoner, Yamaha second with Lorenzo, Yamaha third with Rossi, but will Dovizioso on the Honda in fourth? Can he make a move on Rossi? Into the final corner. Stoner from Lorenzo on board with Dovizioso.
Dovizioso right behind Valentino Rossi as they come into Vicini. Can he get a ride with him? There he is. He's with ride with Andrea Dovizioso on the Honda. Rossi tries to pull away. Meanwhile, at the front, Casey Stoner wins here in Mugello and takes over the lead in the World Championship.
Rossi beats Dovizioso to third position, but Lorenzo takes second. Capirossi has to settle for 5th place. Meanwhile, it's going to be Colin Edwards who's going to take 6th ahead of his teammate James Toseland. And that's going to make him furious, isn't it, the Briton?
Certainly is. Great ride by Colin Edwards. What a Grand Prix in all the classes, but what a MotoGP race. We have a new championship leader after 5 rounds.
Again, another one.
Yeah.
We've had Stoner, we've had Rossi, we've had Lorenzo, and now Colin Stoner and his wife Bronwyn can celebrate victory for their son Casey. He's done his 2nd victory of the season here in Mugello. The first man to beat Valentino Rossi here at his home track since 2001.
Shaking the hands from Jorge Lorenzo. Very good ride by Lorenzo after all the problems he had. 20 very important World Championship points. But congratulations, Casey Stoner. Tumble in practice on Saturday morning. His first ever victory at the home of Ducati for Casey Stoner.
Well, the first victory for Ducati.
Yeah.
Here at Mugello.
Fabulous.
It's a very special day for them. Fans on the track already, please don't touch the riders. Let them go through, let them do their cool-down lap. Or they let the gates open here for the fans because they know that if not, they'll cut the gates open. Rossi, you can see he's steam round, taking the shortcut and steam round the circuit. Rossi's had to content himself with 3rd position today. He'll be disappointed with that, but he'll know that it's not a bad result to take home.
Here we go. Stoner on 90 points. Lorenzo on 86. Rossi on 81. Pedrosa just dropping off the pace a bit after the crash on 57. It's a 3-man battle at the moment, separated by 9 points.
James Tozen there can congratulate himself for taking a very, very solid 7th place today.
Yep.
He was taken by his teammate at the end, but he came in and took a huge gamble from 16th, and he eventually takes 7th in the race. Marco Melandri finished much further down the order. There's Dovizioso, has to settle for 4th place in the end. Great stuff for Casey Stoner, though, can win at the home of Ducati.
Hey.
And when you can, have a look at Jorge Lorenzo. He's absolutely delighted.
Yeah, I think he is.
Of course he is. When you crash on the warm-up lap,
what a desperate day.
You're lucky to first of all take part in the race.
Yeah. And then he had the problems with the bike back in the pits, and he knew he was going to go out on, and the pit crew working furiously to get it ready. They did that. That's absolutely brilliant. Valentino Rossi will be disappointed that his record's gone, but he's right in there in the championship hunt, isn't he?
It's these 3 on the podium, and the same 3 that were on the podium in Qatar, of course, and the 3 who really now have a big gap at the front. A kiss from wife Adriana. He's deserved it today, hasn't he? Thoroughly deserved it. Claudio Domenicali, Ducati CEO in the background. Big shake of the hands from Lorenzo. Great sportsmanship from him. And there's little Riccardo Capirossi on the lap of his father. Mother Ingrid there as well. Oh, that's special. Shame, Capirossi. Really disappointed for him. But he looks happy, doesn't he, Loris?
He does. And he finished the race, and that surely is the main thing. But what a battle he put up. He led the race, eventually finishing 4th. I don't know. Casey Stoner's the star. This man's had a very good day as well, which started off so badly.
And a shocking start to the race, wasn't it, as well? He was down in 10th, 11th position or something.
He did it. There we go. Shake of the hands from him and Valentino Rossi. Battle will recommence in Barcelona. 2 weeks' time, the Grand Prix of Catalonia.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to take any more of these. Please say it's sunny there, Nick.
Yeah, I'm going to have the rest of my voice after today, I can tell you. Fabulous. Stoner wins his 2nd Grand Prix of the year and retakes the lead in the World Championship. What else can you say? Valentino Rossi obviously disappointed not to win the race for the 8th successive time, but he's only 9 points behind Stoner in the championship. It's wide open. The real loser today, Danny Pedrosa, who crashed out. Obviously problems with that injured hip.
And let's hope he's fit for Barcelona.
Yeah.
Of course, that's his home race, par excellence as well. Of course, now Casey Stoner goes and visits the TV companies just to have his word with them. These are the results in the race. That's why they want him first. Casey Stoner, winner of the Italian Grand Prix. In 2nd position, Jorge Lorenzo. And in 3rd, it's Valentino Rossi. Just outside the podium, 2 Italians, Dovizioso and Capirossi. Further down the order, Nicky Hayden had to settle for 12th. Marco Melandri for 11th. And crashes down the bottom, Pedrosa and Takahashi. Riders' Championship then. This is how things stand. Stoner on 90, Lorenzo on 86, Rossi on 81, and then a huge gap back to Danny Pedrosa on 57.
Nice and tight there, though, isn't it? 57, 56, 57 for Pedrosa, 56 for Dovizioso, Melandri and Edwards, Caparossi, and then for Mullen. Really tight in 2 sections. Great championship this year. 5 rounds have gone. Casey Stoner's won 2 Grand Prix. Jorge Lorenzo's won 2 Grand Prix. Valentino Rossi's won 1. The championship, the 3 of them separated by 9 points, but Stoner on the top of the pile, trying to regain the championship he lost to Valentino Rossi last year. Oh, just nice to sort of go, whoa, what a day.
Take a breath. There you can see they've finally been let onto the track. I don't mind people coming onto the track. It's just when riders are going round, it's not only dangerous for them, but dangerous for the riders.
Very dangerous all the way round. And
someone's brought their scooter onto the track.
Now it's racing up and down. 81,000 fans here today. Another massive crowd. What a day it's been. It's been all about tyres. It's been all about the weather.
He's really worked them, hasn't he?
He has. Very, very hard indeed.
There's James Toseland. He can be happy, I think, with that result of 7th. Unlucky that his teammate Colin Edwards got past him, but his best result of the season so far.
Yeah, took a brave decision. Came in very early indeed to change from a wet weather to dries. Obviously, it was difficult to start with, but then really started picking up the pace. Well done, James Toseland. Let's hope that's the boost that will give him the confidence to carry on starting in Barcelona in 2 weeks' time. It's chaos out there, isn't it? Hey, we're safely in our little room here. I think that's probably the best place to be. Here is Colin Edwards. Yeah, sadly, a great deal of animosity between him and James Toseland. And so he'd have been delighted to pit Toseland on the line. Well, the podium awaits. It's not going to be the Italian national anthem here since 2001 when Alex Barrosa won the race. It's been Valentino Rossi in Italy ever since, and this time it's going to be the Australian national anthem. But it's a Ducati that's won the race in Italy, and another great race for MotoGP.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have the mystique and aura that Ferrari has around it in these parts, but nonetheless, it's a home brand, home mark as well, and they'll be delighted nonetheless to have Ducati on there and Valentino Rossi on the podium. In the team's championship, that puts Fiat Yamaha way ahead of the rest. Again, Lorenzo and Rossi taking a podium finish, and they're on 167 to Repsol Honda's 113 and Ducati's 103. Hayden taking 12th in the end today. Needs to find something soon, doesn't he, Nicky Hayden?
Very, very difficult for him, and especially when you see the man that's won the race riding a similar motorcycle.
There's Nicolo Canepa, takes 9th spot.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Good ride from him.
First season, 21 years old.
Again, he came in early, didn't he?
He came in very early.
The lap after Toseland to change tyres, so that did pay off.
It was the right thing to do for the guys towards the back of the field, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They had really nothing to lose. The decisions made by these guys, the first 3 were the really difficult ones. There we are, there is the rear. Bridgestone, medium, rear, slick. What a day. The weather, the tyres, Lorenzo crashing on the warm-up lap. We had everything here at Mugello this afternoon. Another MotoGP classic. That's the main straight, Mugello.
That's Filippo Preziosi, the technical director for Ducati, and a big hug from Casey Stoner to him. He's the man who made the Desmosedic G what it is. And Casey Stoner's the man who, of course, took it to its World Championship in 2007. They're ready now to go out onto the podium. A delight for Ducati. This is such a special race for them.
They're probably already talking about Barcelona, knowing them, getting sorted out for the next battle.
But Casey Stoner, you know, he'll be developing things there. He'll be talking about what was wrong. Tell you what we can improve. Yeah. What we could do is...
Valentino Rossi in third place, not on the top step of the podium for the first time for 8 years. But he's picked up some very precious World Championship points. Second place, Jorge Lorenzo, but he's won his second Grand Prix of the season. It's the first win ever at Mugello for Casey Stoner and Ducati, and he leads the 2009 World Championship.
I think the circuit commentator likes Valentino Rossi. He knows you don't have to do anything. This man is a king in these parts.
Oh, they're disappointed though, aren't they? The pit crew and the team are disappointed. Well done, Jorge Lorenzo, after all your problems. It was a brilliant 20 points. May have lost the lead in the World Championship. Could have been a disaster for him today. It wasn't.
Casey Stoner collects the trophy. He wins the Italian Grand Prix. Delight for him, delight for his family as well, who've come over from Australia. And Filippo Preziosi collects the award for Ducati.
Right back in the hunt, Ducati. Casey Stoner right back in the hunt. This is a fabulous World Championship, but a day in Italy belongs to the Italian Ducati factory, but to an Australian Casey Stoner.
Advanced Australia Fair rings out
from his mum and dad.
Yeah. Great scenes, and that must be so special to see all those Italian fans silence for the national anthem. Casey Stoner can celebrate breaking Valentino Rossi's record here at Mugello.
And as if on cue, it's just started raining down in pit lane.
They said, didn't they, 3 o'clock? Ideal timing for us, thank you very much.
Oh dear, what a day we've had. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. What a fabulous day of Grand Prix racing. Of course, the interviews to come yet with the 3 podium finishes in the MotoGP class. They're going to be covered in champagne when they arrive here.
Filippo Preziosi, that's what he's soaked up there.
Just a great day's racing. A wet race, yeah, a dry race, and one in between for you. So you've had absolutely everything. We look forward to Barcelona in 2 weeks' time. If it's good as it has been today, and I'm sure it will be, just sit back and enjoy. We certainly are enjoying the 2009 MotoGP season, I can assure you.
Good sportsmanship up on the podium between all 3 riders. There's good healthy respect between these guys. Not any animosity really, is there?
No,
Valentino Rossi just removes his clothing. Oh, he's starting with the knee sliders. Let's just hold it there before we get any more. He was trying to get the other one off. I'm sure it'll go soon enough, won't it?
Yeah.
We've had the helmet into the crowd before, haven't we? I wonder who's going to get that one with the hands on it.